Hello, welcome to another episode of Black Ice 73. I am Black Ice 73. Today I'm talking about this guy named Tom Cotton. He's a senator from Arkansas. And Tom Cotton is the first Caucasian person I ever heard. I know some other Caucasians might have said it, but this is the first Caucasian person I ever heard say slavery was a necessary evil for the United States. He says slavery, if it wasn't for slavery, the United States as a country would not be great like it is now. So he, oh shoot, I'm sorry about that. Tom Cotton said he's not justifying or he not promoting slavery. Tom Cotton said, hey, if it wasn't for the free labor, our country wouldn't be great. But Tom Cotton said this is a necessary evil. You know what a necessary evil is? Something that needs to be happening, even though it was bad, even though it was terrible, even though people was killed and kidnapped and raped, harmed, worked to death. It wasn't paid for that labor. The land was stolen. But Tom Cotton said slavery was a necessary evil. How can you put your lips together and say slavery was a necessary evil? Who was necessary for? Who benefited our slavery? It wasn't the people, it wasn't the ancestors of the people who y'all consider slaves. I don't call them slaves. I call them they were kidnapped people from their different tribes around America. And you know, another thing, they use slavery to not, they call it slavery. But if you look back in history, you will see that the black and brown people that live in America now, who ancestors were so-called slaves, they were already on this land. The black and brown people, y'all call slaves, was already on this land. They wasn't brought from Africa. I know I talked about this before, but there's nowhere in the history of Africa that 20 million people was kidnapped or sold to the Americans. Nowhere. Nowhere. Our ancestors were native of this country. I think it was like in 1913 or something like that I read that it was this Caucasian guy who wrote that we would not call them native of the United States. We will not recognize them as the Blackfoots or Cherokees or the Seminole. We wouldn't recognize them as the native of this continent right here. Look, we would call them Negroes, slaves. So have y'all ever asked yourself, and maybe you have asked yourself, you know, people from the Europeans, the Caucasian Europeans, came over here and they showed in the history book They didn't know how to. They didn't have no clue how to farm this land. Excuse me. They ain't have a clue how to farm this land. They ain't know how to grow stuff. They ain't know what product that you can grow on this land. And only the native of this land knew how to grow the products or what food can be produced on the soil of this land. And there's no way the Caucasians and Africans can raise stuff on this land if they ain't know what this land can bear. Only the native of this land knew what this land can bear. But history's been changed. The history for so-called African Americans have been changed so many times in the textbook. You'll never get recognized as a native of this country. But Tom Cotton, he like this free label that the founding fathers got to build up, grow stuff. It was the necessary evil for this country. It helped this country grow into one of the most powerful countries of mankind. Right now, the United States was more powerful than the British Empire, the Japanese Empire, the Roman Empire, the Egyptian Empire. And the only way you can do that, the only way they were able to gain this fortune and be so powerful, all the back of like Tom Cotton said, the slaves, the kidnapped people. You know how people been saying, hey, we need to get reparation for our ancestors' work and stuff like this. You got a senator on here verifying what people be saying, that reparations need to be given to the family. So he said this country was built all free labor. This country became a superpower of free labor. Free labor. But then Cotton, he didn't just stop there. Cotton defended what he said. He defended. He like, hey, I ain't saying that slave was a good thing. It was necessary. He said the founding father said it was necessary. You know, this is why our country, articles like this is why our country still have hate between races. It's a constant reminder to let you know, hey, we see your ancestors as nothing but horses and mules. Your ancestors were just working. And our ancestors, not all, don't get me wrong, because some of the Caucasians or white people were poor as dirt too. They also was considered as so-called slaves. But those people were just people who worked it just to pay off a loan or something like that. You know, pay off, you know, it's in history. They were sleeping with the so-called slaves. But like I said, kidnapped people. They were sleeping with them, not having sex with them, but I'm saying sleeping in the same condition as them. But they were doing it just to pay off like a family debt, or pay off something they borrowed and they had the money to pay for, so they had to pay off the labor, free labor, just to pay it off. So But like I was saying, this country would never get over racism, because we always constantly reminded, like, hey, yeah, they were slaves. You got movies, they were slaves. It, we would never get over it. Maybe after my daughter, if, after Generation Z, maybe something changed, but I doubt it. I doubt Generation Z or whatever come after Z, the other next generation, they're gonna be reminded to. And I know some people hate to say this, but the Black Lives Movement, even though the Black Lives Association is different from what people actually marching and saying Black Lives Matter. They're not talking about the doing association. People know they're not talking about it, but they use that association every time they need to make a darn point. Like, look at them, look at them. They ain't nothing but people who trying to get their people in there and all that kind of crap. Yeah. But this Black Lives Movement is the only reason it happened because they see the senseless killing on black people. Senseless killing on black people. Yeah. So Tom Cotton, could we use his words, or could a lawyer use Tom Cotton words to take it to the Supreme Court and say, look what this senator actually said from Arkansas, that this country was built off the back of slavery, so now should their ancestors be paid? But the thing is, how people be saying reparation, how can they determine who get the money? Because we all know every family member don't get along with some people. Every family member don't get along. Like it was like my grandmother, great grandmother, they have passed. My grandfather on both sides, they have passed. And I wasn't there. They did get reparations. The older people, my grandmother's children, the people too greedy. my grandmother children on my mama's side, they were fighting over the little property that my uncle who got murdered. They were fighting over the little property that was. He just had a townhouse and some darn clothes. They were fighting over that. They were fighting over his bank account. So imagine, they said the head of your family get the check for the reparation. Man, the money will stop right there. Like on my father's side, shit, you want to see no money. My father's side now, the brothers, my uncles and auntie and my dad, now they would be too busy fighting over what money they'll get. Especially some people are just greedy. But that would never happen. I know in one state, I think it was Michigan, that I think the governor or somebody was talking about reparations, but it's not talking about getting the money, but it's talking about like improving the darn communities and more job opportunities and stuff. That should have been that. That should have been happening right there. They shouldn't have to wait till election year and then that'll be your campaign slogan. I'm about to give y'all reparation. I'm about to make y'all send business to y'all communities. I'm about to tear down some of these old buildings and rebuild other things and the cost of living and yeah. You don't need no as your campaign slogan. You should have been doing it the whole time you've been the governor or whoever you are in that city or in that state. Every year, we get these asinine campaign promises from both sides, and nothing never happened. Nothing. Democrat, Republicans, nothing never happened. Nothing. Nothing. All of them nasty, man. All these darn nasty lies they tell. Like this presidential election right here. I am so freaking confused. I have no clue. As of July the 27th, 2020, I still have no clue who I'm voting for. I know they say a lot of bad things. They say Trump this, Trump that. If you do your research, you'll be saying Biden this and Biden that too. And a lot of things, I'm a black man. You can see black, brown, whatever color, bronze color, whatever you want to call it. I'm that. But if we just look at what people complain about President Trump, it ain't nothing really. It's just speaking from my experience. I know some people say, "Oh, he's racist," but they never prove about what he's racist about. Never prove it. Maybe, when they caught him saying, but they blew up that part when he said I can just grab him by the vagina. They blew that part up. But if you actually hear everything he said I am famous. He said, when you be famous, sometimes women just let you grab them by the boot, by the vagina, if you wanted to. He didn't say he just go around grabbing women by the vagina, but they turned that jump into the grab by the vagina. Because some people don't look at news. Some people look at memes on social media or listen to one-liners coming from people against him. Oh, Trump said he can just grab him by the poo-poo. Even though he didn't say he gonna just grab him by the poo-poo. He was talking in a form of like using an example what celebrities get away with. He wasn't just talking about himself, he was talking about celebrities. Yeah. But I'm gonna read you some of this article what Senator Tom Cotton out of Arkansas said. Damn. Drop my phone. Sorry about that. I dropped my darn phone. But I'm gonna read you what some of this stuff that Tom Cotton said. Tom Cotton called slavery the nation's necessary evil in a new interview published on Sunday. The senator told Arkansas Democrat that slavery was the evil upon which the Union was built. He made the stunning comment while discussing how slavery should be taught in school. He quote, "We have to study the history of slavery and its role and impact on the development of our country because otherwise we can't understand our country." End quote. Cotton said, as the founding fathers said, it was the necessary evil upon which the Union was built. A darn dog. Cotton also noted that the Union was built in a way, as Lincoln said, to put slavery on the course to ultimate extinction. It's instead of portraying America as a corporate writing and racist country, the nation should be viewed as an imperfect, flawed land, but the greatest and noblest country in the history of mankind, he added. He said the United States should be known for flawed. That's an understatement. Flawed land, bloody land, anything. The United States should be known for all the ghosts of the people of the past they had killed. Not the United States. I'm gonna blame all that on the United States. People with guns and men, or some of y'all ancestors out there who made raids on towns and villages and killed them because they doing rich land. The United States should be known for. You know, so when they talk about the history, they look like slavery and the founding fathers, but they don't want to talk about all the murders and people who were slaughtered and displaced from their land because some other person wanted their land because they seen how the soil was producing great fruits and vegetables and cotton, all other kind of stuff, tobacco. They seen how productive the land was, and they went there and gave them an ultimatum like, you believe or I'm gonna kill your whole family. That kind of history should be taught in school. How the land was not a gift to the people, but were forcibly taken. You know what Indian giver come from? Indian giver come from the government, where they claim that the Indians gave their land, but especially Indians, Native Americans don't like being called Indians. That name came from India, where Christopher Columbus thought that he was going, but instead he landed on the continent of South America. Is South America on continent? Yeah, South America. And he seen these brown, black people, and he thought he was in India. So he started calling the natives Indians. That's how the name came up. The fool thought he was in India, the country, and that's how the people was called Indians. And they just spread it on up north. And they started calling it Indians in history when they all had their own communities and nation. The Cherokee Nation, all that good stuff. Like my grandmother told me a long time ago that her mother's side of the family are part of the Cherokee Indian. Well, no, the Cherokee Nation. Well, no, Indian, Cherokee Nation. Yeah. That's what our land should be known for. Slaughter and murder. The American way. You can't, at that time, they couldn't buy them out. They killed them. Or they forced them to leave. Now, if you got enough money, you just take them to court. And you sue and sue and sue until the person run out of money and you win. Or be a forcible takeover in a business. Like the person don't want to sell the business, but it got a board. You got people, the vice president and president, they got shareholders. The shareholder can vote the owner out of his own business just to sell to make a profit to a country, to a company that want to buy them out. That's the same thing happened to Wachovia Bank. Some of y'all remember Wachovia Bank? After that sale had taken place, it was an article came out saying Wachovia didn't even want to sell to Wells Fargo. They ain't had it at all. They wasn't planning on selling Wells Fargo. They were forced. They were forced to sell to Wells Fargo. I know one thing. I woke up one morning. I went to the ATM. Look, damn. Where Wachovia go? So the power of Google showed me Wachovia was forcibly took over by Wells Fargo. I said, damn. Is that how they do it in the corporate world? Yeah, ain't no more bloods and no more gun violence. They just get into your door. They just get into the people, the shareholder head, and say, "Hey, this is how much money you can make it with this shit, with this sale." And then the shareholders be like, "Anybody want to vote for this?" Yes, they vote for it. Y'all got beat out. We selling. I just gave y'all a small lesson how shareholders are sometimes is not the best people. Shareholders is a good thing if you want to build up your products and get that extra money coming in to help sell your stuff. But at the same time, when you have shareholders, and depending on how much they have invested into how many shares they got invested, they can buy the shareholders. They can sell all their shares to one person, and that one person can have more shares than the person who owned the company. And then they can say, "We're gonna sell because I got more shares." He can sell all his shares to the outside company, and that outside company can have more shares than the person who owned the company. Corporate world is nasty, people. I know that part of the American dream that you want to get in the corporate world, create money, have enough to pass down to your family generations, and you can let your money work for yourself. But that junk is so nasty, people. You mess around like getting in that corporate world, and you get some shareholders. No shareholder got some money. Woo, it can get real nasty out there. But back to Cotton. Cotton also noted that the union was built. Okay, I said that part. They said instead of portraying America, I said that part too. Cotton also said the 1619 project, which referred to the year slaves were brought from Africa. They know slave wasn't brought from Africa to the United States. They just kidnapped the people who are already in the United States. I know we were taught. Damn, shit. I know we were taught this bull crap in school and all that kind of stuff. But how in the world are you gonna tell us that people transported 20 million slaves, black people, brown people, to a continent that already, where they already live? I know they keep on throwing out this lie in history talking about Christopher Columbus discovered the Americans. How you can discover shit when people already were living here? Yeah. And then Christopher Columbus Where you from? France? Yeah, I think he's from France, I think. So if the French people discover America, why the hell are we speaking English? It's just something, my mind, like, I have poop coming out my ears sometimes. But if Christopher Columbus discovered the Americans, why in the hell are we speaking English? So we speaking French or something? Should we be speaking the language of the catcher? We've been taught so much BS in school, man. We've been taught so much BS. Because according to history, the only part that France had a hold on was Florida and Louisiana. According to history. And the reason they got Florida, because the British people didn't want it because too many mosquitoes. Check the facts. I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm just regurgitating some of the stuff that I heard in school. Some of the stuff that I was taught in school, I'm regurgitating that. I think he was French. He was French or Spanish one. There was one of them. I know he went England. He went from the UK. Yeah, I'm sorry. But this dude named Tom Cotton. He pretty much made slavery, saying slavery was cool. Hey, we were cool with slavery. Hey, you see what we did? You see how rich our nation is? Called slavery. Yeah. God, I love America. I love America. People like Tom Cotton, Arkansas, y'all gonna have him unless y'all do something about it. But this right here, this need it didn't even make national news right here. What Tom Cotton said. I got this. I'm looking at this on AOL. AOL. Yeah, it still exists. I'm looking at that on AOL. I ain't learned this. Every morning, I wake up, I look at headline news. This right here wasn't on headline news. So this is like, yeah, he said that. This ain't newsworthy. Let's put it on AOL. You know AOL. You got mail. They stopped saying that. That's why people went away from AOL. They just stop saying, you got mail. It kind of motivates you to open up your email. Hey, thank you for watching the video. Did y'all see Tom Cotton today? Tell him, full of shit, Tom. Just tell him like that. Say, Tom, you full of shit, man. I disagree with you. The junk ain't no necessary evil. It was just evil, Tom. Your ancestors and your friend's ancestor was just evil. Thank you for watching the video. If you make it this far back and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the notification bell, hit the share button, and hit the like button. Thank you, the one person who hit the like button for me. I think of my daughter. I don't know. Could have been my daughter. I had to pretty much threatened my daughter just to look at my YouTube video. I said, go. I pay for your service. Just flip on it. You don't even have to listen to it. Just flip on it. Let it just run. I'll do it. All right. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll talk to you later. Damn you, Tom Cotton.